Boom. Let's see now. Let me get this right. Ooh, there's... Oh, okay. Oh, hold on here. Let me turn the light off. You don't get that. Then you don't get that backlight, right? Wow, look at this. What do we got going here? Ed. Good to see you, Ed. I am so glad you're here. Mariana's in the house. You guys are going to keep me company. Ed, you're tuning in from Indiana. Oh, look at that. Russell's in too. Excellent. We're all here. Morning all. Oh, look, Candace just chimed in as well. All right. We almost have the whole world represented. We just need to get one of our Australia friends to tune in, and I think we would be almost covering the globe, which is quite remarkable. I was over 4th of July. We were at my cousin's house, and we were meeting some neighbors, and they came over and they were introduced themselves as artists, and I was asking them just kind of what kind of art they do and everything. It was really good. And then finally they got around and go, well, what do you do, to me? And I said, oh, I'm an artist too. I have, I teach online. And they go, oh, like, here in the United States? I go, more like the whole world. And it was so weird to say that. But I was like, I guess so, right? Hey, this is the age, this is the awesome, this is the awesome age we're in right now, isn't it? That we can communicate all over the world. I mean, that is really, if you just sit back and think about it, that is remarkable, right? Okay. You're like, all right, Kurt, shut up. Let's get to drawing. That's what we're here for. All right. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night live drawing session. We try and get together every Wednesday night, and we focus on drawing a portraiture, and that is exactly what we're going to be working on tonight. So, art class means the world to me. Yes, it does. I see that, Russell. So, let's talk about, let's go over some drawing head basics, okay? And if many of you, if you're been a regular attendee of this class, a lot of times I will hit up the same things, but it's good to review those things, and then we will get on to our main portrait. So I like to approach, it's important for a beginner or an intermediate student to understand how a head is structured. As you get further along in your drawing career or your adventure, these things start to really sit in your mind, and you start start to look for them, and you don't need to put them down all the time. But in the very beginning stages, it's really important to put these different volumes and masses in place, and then we build upon them. So let's start off with, I was going to say something, but let's start off with this idea here. Let's start off with, and make sure I'm on my right pencil there and doing that. And doing that. Okay. Let's start off with 3 spheres. All right. And typically with with any mass, I want you to think of the head as a round mass. If we look straight on, at the head, a lot of times it will take almost a square or a box point of view, because the sides of your head are flat. If we look at a head from the side, we actually will see it being a little bit more rounded. Okay, so and then if we see it 3/4, that's when it messes us all up, because it's a little bit of both. But that's okay. We'll get there. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to think of this idea of 2D, 3D, and then face placement, okay? I want you to think of this idea right here. So what do I mean by 2D axis? Well, if I was I'm going to turn this camera a little bit like this. Okay, I'll back up a little bit so you can see me. if this was a stick and I put it directly into my forehead just like this, my top of my head, and I turn my head this way, okay, that would be a 2D axis. So it's the 2D axis is if you tilt the head to the right or to the left. Okay, so that's the first thing we want to determine. So over here, let's just kind of make that mark. So the 2D axis is going in this direction, and this person's going to be tilting their head a little bit in this direction, and this person we will also say is tilting their head slightly in that direction. All right, so this is the first thing we want to ask ourselves. Looking at a head, is it tilting a little bit to the right, or is it tilting a little bit to the left? All right, next, 3D axis. 3D axis means if I determine that my head, come back here, is tilting a little bit to the right, but then I'm looking down, you see it's coming toward me. I can still keep it on the same 2D axis and raise my head and look up. You see that? That's falling away from me. All right, so let's take a look at that. So, and we're gonna call this A, B, and C, so I can refer to them. Okay, so A, let's say A is looking down. So what we're going to do is draw an equator line, and that line there represents the line that goes through the eyebrows and across to the top of the ears. Okay. In B, let's say B is looking up. Okay, so we're looking up at it. You see that? And then C, let's say it's also looking down, but it's so slight. It's almost straight, but it definitely is looking slightly down. Okay. That's the 3D axis. So I'm gonna indicate this so you can get an idea. This one is going back in space, and this one is almost looking straight at us. All right. That right there is 3D. So 2D is it leaning to the left or the right? And then is it coming forward or is it going back? All right. And the last thing is where along is the direction of the face. So if I go 2D, and then I lean it forward, I could still stay right on this trajectory and get my face to look in all different sorts of directions. So that's the third thing you've got to determine. So let's just say the face right here is looking in this direction. You see that? And this line coming down here represents the center line. Up here, let's just say the face is here. So it's going to come down like this. And it's looking up. And then on C, let's say C is just looking this way here, and he's looking like right over in this direction a little bit. All right? Similar to A. All right, so now we've established the 2D, 3D, and the face placement. If you walk away tonight knowing just those three things, you have been extremely successful. All right? If you could put those in the back of your mind and remember those three ideas, you can quit right now and go to bed, Mariana. No, stay up with us. I'm only kidding. Okay, next what you want to look for is the temple. So take your fingers and feel them. They're right there behind the outer edges of your eyebrows, okay? And so those are important marks. We could call those landmarks, all right? So I just put 2 temple marks on A. On B, it's going to be like this. You see that? And on C, it's also going to be just like that, okay? All right, A. Once we establish those temple marks, we're going to slice off the side of the head, okay? So we're going to slice this off here. It's going to be a little more straight, just like that. You see that? This one up here, it's going to be like this. And this one here, we're going to slice that off as well. All right. Let's go ahead and get this, let's look for our jaw now. So take your fingers, feel your ears, and then your jaw will come right down. You can feel it right there. You see that? You can feel that right there. All right, so we're going to come straight down just a little bit. We're going to come straight down just a little bit. Straight down a little bit, just like that. Straight down, and then we're going to curve this around. This is going to be where our chin is, and it's going to curve back. Same thing here. All right, so our chin is going to be there, so we're going to maybe a little bit lower like this. Drop this down, curve that around, and this is going to follow in that same direction right there. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get the back of our head now. So back here, you can see it's starting to come together just a little bit. That's good. Okay, next step, what we want to look at is we're going to look at the visor of the eyes. This is the part that comes down like this, and then it's going to hit the cheek. All right, so we go right at the temple, and we just cut in just ever so slightly. Just ever so slightly. Then we're going to come across, oops, color change there. We're going to come across like this. And then we're going to come back out just like this. Okay. This one's looking a little donkey. But that's okay. You get the idea where we're going. We're just trying to get an idea here, all right? So next thing we're going to come down and the nose is going to sit right on top of that. Nose is going to sit right on top of this one. And the nose is going to sit right on over here. Ed, are you still with us? How's that going, Ed? Let me know. Let me know if you have any questions. Because our mission is to make you a rock star. All right. Got these in place now? Let's go ahead and put in the barrel of the mouth. Barrel of the mouth goes right behind the nose. Barrel of the mouth goes right behind the nose. And then we put the chin on top of that. Chin goes there. What time is it? Ooh, we gotta get going. You gotta get going. All right, ear. Ear goes to this line right here, and goes to the bottom of the nose. So that's gonna be our ear. Is gonna be right there. Ear's gonna be right there. Right along the brow line to the bottom of the nose to the back of the skull. There's our ear right there. And then your eye is going to line up with the corner. Generally, your eyes are going to line up with the corner or the edge of the barrel of the mouth. You see this? Look. Here's the corner of my mouth. It's right here at the barrel, and it lines up right with the center of my eye. See that? And then the last little measurement I want to leave with you, and then we'll get to drawing here, is remember the wings of the nose usually line up with the center part with the corner of the eye, just like that. You see that? Wings of the nose, outside wings of the nose line up with the corner of the eye. And I think with that we're gonna end it right there. And then now let's get on to our model, okay? All right, good. Ed is with us. Excellent. So these are the things, these little steps are really good habit to get into when you're drawing the face. And like I said, the more and more you do it, these things will get really planted in your head, and you can start to look for them, and I'm much slower than you are. Okay, Ed, am I going too fast? Because I could slow it down a little bit, my friend. I am more than happy to do that. Just say the word, okay? Plus, once we're done, you can watch the rewind of this, so the video won't go away, and you can jump around as well. Okay, let's go ahead and get on with our drawing tonight. And we're going to be drawing this lovely girl here. Oh, by the way, we do have a Facebook group, and you are, I would encourage everyone, if you are watching this, click on the link down in the description and join us, because we have a lot of fun there. We keep each other drawing. We have a lot of challenges and a whole bunch of other stuff that goes on there. Plus, if you do like the video, please like, subscribe, and comment and all that stuff. Okay, all right, that's all I will say to that end. All right, let's draw our face here, and remember roughly the things that we just talked about. So first thing, let's go ahead and get a nice oval here. And I'm keeping this nice and loose. So that's gonna be my sphere. And the first question I have, can anyone guess? 2D. Yeah, what's the 2D axis? Well, if I'm looking at this, I would say she's almost straight up and down. She's neither tilting her head to the right or to the left. So we're just gonna leave the 2D axis straight up and down. All right. Next question we have to ask is, she picking up her head forward, or is it going down? And I would have to say, from how much I see of the underside of her nose, I'm going to guess that she's kind of tilting it up just ever so slightly. Okay, so that's going to help me. That's going to help me determine this equator here. All right. And then lastly, let's determine about where her face is pointing. And of course, she is looking off in this direction, so I'm going to kind of roughly drop a center line, maybe like that. Now, this is where I could see like the side of her face. We're just going to put in almost just a very light line. We might change this a little bit, but this will help give us some guidance. All right, Ed, you're going to catch up later. Sounds good. We got 40 minutes, so we'll see how we do here. Okay, so we talked about 2D axis, we talked about 3D axis, and we talked about face placement. And now I want to give you one more concept. This next tool, these next set of tools you will use to draw everything. Okay, you will use to draw everything. So this actually is just as important, but let me go over it. Okay, and it's this idea, the tools of measurement. The tools of measurement, and I use this all the time. So let me kind of explain to you what the tools of measurement are. And we're going to come up here to we'll go to green, and we'll crank this up here. Okay, so when I start to draw something and I'm trying to get into proportion, I'll use 3 ways of measuring to do that. I will use vertical lines, I will use horizontal lines, and I will use negative space. So let's take a look at that here. So a vertical line. So a vertical line would be a line straight up and down. So here I could think, oh look, the corner of the eye is going to line up exactly with the corner of the mouth. You see that? That would be a vertical. That would be a vertical measurement. A horizontal measurement might be this. Look at this. Oh, look. The corner of her right eye lines up right underneath her left eye. So these are the different things I'm going to want to look for as I'm putting things in place. So that's vertical measurements, horizontal measurements, and lastly is negative space. So this is what I mean by negative space. Negative space would be like, oh, look at this negative space there. You see that? I'm going to look for that shape and make sure that I have that much negative space. Okay? I might also look for this. Oops. I might also look for something like this. Oh, what's this negative shape? You see that? So these are the different things that I'm going to look for as I'm drawing her face, just double checking those type of proportions. Any type of shape or vertical or horizontal alignment. And the great thing about those little tools is you could use them for everything, from drawing houses to nature type of things to character design. You name it, you could use that. Okay, next, let's continue here. And with that being said, let's find the temple, her temple, and look at this here. Let's be careful here. Oh, let's see where her temple is, and this is the first measurement I'm going to look for. Her temple is right about there. Her other temple is going to be right there. All right. Now, this is what I'm going to look for. Look at this distance. Look at this distance. Okay, compared to that distance. You see that? I'm going to look at this relationship to that relationship when I determine where I'm going to put that temple. So let's see, we got our first one there, great. And then I'm going to estimate, I think right about there. All right, that's where I'm going to go with that one. So with that being said, now I can draw the flattened side of her face. And I'm going to draw down this jawline just a little bit. Now before I draw her jaw, I'm going to determine her eyes and where her nose are, okay? So let's get this visor here, and let me show you where it's at. The visor here is going like this and like that. Like this and like that. Right through those eyes there. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Alright, so we're going to come back a little bit. Oops, I think a little bit more than that. A little more angled. We're going to come back just a little bit. Okay, we know that that's going to connect there. Now her nose, I'm going to look for, next thing I'm going to look for is this right here. The bottom of that nose in relationship to that right there, you see? So we got that, and then I'm going to determine it's right about there maybe. Okay, let's go ahead and continue this now. Let's get the side cheek in here. Side cheek's going like this, and then it's going to angle. It's going to angle down just like this. You see that? Now this is going to come right down here. Now this is where we're going to look for the the negative shape. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that angle and this little bit right there, okay? All right, that's what I'm looking for. So her nose is going to come down here. Something like that. Let's draw the underside of her nose, just a little bit of a tip there. All right, we're going to come like that. This is going to follow the surface of that cheek right there, and then come up like this. Keep it light. Okay, now let's get this barrel of the mouth, and we can see that it almost, and it's barely on her because one, she's so young you don't even see those lines, but we can kind of roughly guess where they're going to be. And of course the barrel of the mouth is round like this. You see this? Round. So the center line is going to be a little round. Okay, let's get this chin in place now. It's going to follow this angle because all these things are kind of lining up. Okay, now we're ready to drop that. Now we're ready to drop that jaw in. I'm going to drop it down just like this a little bit. I'm going to sweep it. Sweep it around. We always talk about construction gives way to likeness. Don't try and get a person's likeness. Just get their construction down. And it will make all the difference in the world. All right. Let's get an eyeball in place. It's a little bit easier now. There's an eyeball there. And make sure this is a little bit lower. Make sure it's lower. Okay. And you could even, once you have this, you could even roughly just kind of put in, I like to put in the pupils and the irises at this stage because it's easier, for me at least, to get the person looking in the right direction. Okay, up top of the nose here, you're going to have this keystone shape. A keystone shape is something like this. It's like the same shape as a knot in a man's tie. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get these. Let's get these eyelids in, okay? And we're going to start a little bit low here. I'm going to start with a little dot there. And it's going to come up. And I'm going to round. I'm just going to come right around. And the same thing on the other side here. It's going to come on the outside a little bit. It's going to circle around. And it's going to come around. Okay. Bottom here. I'm not gonna quite attach it. I'm gonna just kind of let the imagination do that. And the same thing the other side. I'm going to do the other side now as well. All right. The eyelids are coming down like this. I probably made this just a little too dark in here. I'm using my eraser there to fix that. And this is going to circle around as well. And now I'm just going to add a tone right where the iris is, just slightly for right now. And it might be a little bit early, but I'm going to definitely put some eyelashes in. Just all right, let's continue on. Let's get this nose in. Let's draw the septum of the nose. It's coming in almost like a V shape here. And then we have the nostrils. So they're just coming around like this. Okay. And we have another one on the other side of the septum. Okay, let's get these eyebrows in as we make our way down here. And look at this distance here. This is what I want you to look for. Here's another look at this negative space. Okay? Look how much space that is. So let's make sure we honor that, also this space over there as well. Okay, I'm going to put the other one in as well. Oh, I think I did those too big. Well, that happens, right? All right, let's continue on. Okay, let's get these lips in. And let's look at this relationship here. Let's look at where the corner of her nose is to the corner of her mouth, to that corner of the mouth. You see that? That's what we're going to look for. And then we're going to also mark the top, the very peak, the peak of her lip right there. You see that? So let's come down here, and this is going to come maybe right about, oops, right about there. It's almost straight up, and I'm looking for, there's the peak of her lips, and then this one's going to line up. This is where I'm using that vertical alignment. I'll put it on my paper over here so you can see it on my iPad, and that's going to be a little bit higher. So let's get that top lip in, and top lip just almost goes straight up, has a little slight dip, and it's going to curve around. And you know what? It probably doesn't do that much of a curve that way. I'm gonna change mine slightly. Oops. All right, there you go. I think that's a little bit better. Let's look closely now at something. Let's look closely at this. Nope, I don't want to do that. Wait. All right, I want to come in and show you something here. Watch this. Watch how these lips work. And this is the top lip oftentimes, okay? Let's make that really small there. A lot of times it will be like this. You'll have something like this. And then it could go like that. Let me just see real quickly. All right. It's like this, like this, like this. You see that? What will happen is this tends to overlap that just a little bit because the top of the lip has a bit of a ridge right there, okay? So we want to be careful of that when we draw our lips. So here I go. I'm going to draw this first line first. Get the second one underneath there like that. And then we'll bring this one back. All right, bottom lip. Let's leave just a little bit of a gap there. is this beautiful curve, okay? Just this pretty curve. Let's get that down here. That's where the thickness is going to be. And we're going to curve around like that. I probably made her lips just a little too big, but that's okay. Yeah, I did a lot too big. That's not okay. So let's just, there you go. That might be a little bit better there. Okay, let's come back up here to her forehead now. And this line is coming straight up for her forehead. Now this is the next area I want to be careful of when I draw it. I want to look at this negative space. This is going to be the center line. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for, all of this negative space. Looking at that negative space there. And even though it's a curve, I could just use some straight lines right now as I make my way around her head. All right, let's get this hair in place now. We're gonna come up here, and once again I'm looking at the large shape here. I'm looking at that type of shape right there, okay? Excellent. Okay, let's go ahead and look at this, get this bow or this tie that's in place right there. And I'm looking at the this is what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at this distance compared to this distance, and man, those are almost equal, right? They're almost equal. So if I'm going to be right there, top of the head is going to be there. It's going to come all the way down, almost to that point right there. I draw this lightly. I'm just going to look for the shape right now. Just looking for the shape. Probably comes out like this. Looking where the other bow comes in, the other tie. This one, look at that. That almost comes in just like this. You see that? Again, just kind of looking for the overall shape. This is a nice S-curve. Straight back. How far does it come down now? Right below that knot. Right below this knot here, right? And I have this shape here. Look at this shape. There's that. There's this shape here. And then her hair back here. I kind of rushed there a little bit because we're coming up to 50 minutes, and now the next step would be is to go back into some of these larger shapes and to break those down just a little bit. So let's do it. Let's do it with this front little tie here and take a look at this here. So I can see it's coming around like this at the bottom. Okay. And then it's coming up over there. It has a little bit of a gap right there. You see that? And I have this lovely, very round form like that. Your nose is too long. Well, that happens, my friend. But, Russell, you're telling the truth. So, Pinocchio, you are not. It's okay. So, Russell, to be all honest, I did draw this, you know the idea that if you draw a portrait a couple times, you get familiar with it. So it's always good to try it out a little bit. And tonight I did go into this a couple times and drew it. So I'll show those to you right now in these last couple minutes. Okay. So let's get this. I'm going to just throw in some of these darker tones, and then for the next 3 minutes or so, I'm just going to do a nice even tone for her hair here. And then, of course, the same tone is going to be over here. And then for her hair up on top here, I'm going to think of it as not as individual strands, but grouping, okay? And then her hair back here is coming in pretty dark. And I'm going to make her eyelashes just a little bit longer over here. That's probably too long. That's a little better. And then the last thing I'm going to do here, I'm just going to tone in slightly the top of her lip and the underside of her nose slightly. Okay? And probably when we're done, I'll go back in and add just a little bit more shadow here and there, but there you go. I hope everyone did that well. Let me let me show you. Let me bring on screen now what I did earlier before we were all together here. So I did that quick little sketch. I'm gonna leave it there just for a second. So if you want to, when you look at the recording, if you want to just take a quick screen capture of that. And then I also went back in and I started adding some lighter tones to it. And then the last thing I did is actually try to do a little color, which I don't typically do, but I tried to do this real quick, this quick sketch earlier on. And then I started to add a little bit of color to it. So these were the two initial drawings that I did before we did the thing tonight. Really just to kind of get myself familiar with it just a little bit and yeah, put it together. Thanks, Russell. I appreciate that. Okay, well that brings our class to the end, and let me bring up our drawing from tonight so you can reference that if you need to. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been a fun one, and we had a nice group. We had pretty regular. It looks like 6 to 8 people watching. So to everyone who watched tonight, thank you so much. I do appreciate it. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. And Ed, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, Ed, jump into the Facebook group, throw a question out there, and anyone, even Wall, will help answer it and point you in the right direction. Can't wait to see your guys' work, okay? Good night, everyone. Good night, Mariana. At 2:30 in the morning. What, Russell? What time is it You're in England, aren't you, Russell? So I bet you it's like midnight, a little after midnight, huh? Okay. Good night, everyone. I will see you later. Bye-bye.